Welcome back, listeners, to the Deep Dive, where, well, we dive deep into the most fascinating mysteries out there. Today, we're going underground, venturing into the realm of Agartha.
Ah, Agartha. It's legendary.
It is a legendary subterranean kingdom, and of course that has sparked, well, countless conspiracy theories.
And it's a fascinating journey, this deep dive, because we're not just going to be like, does it exist or not?
Right.
We're going to dive into the history, how the myth evolved over time, and why people are still so fascinated about it.
The enduring appeal. It's like stepping into, well, a hidden world, right? Like a secret civilization is just flourishing beneath our feet. And it's not just any civilization. We're talking advanced technology,
Oh, yeah.
spiritual wisdom,
Uh-huh.
maybe even connections to those lost continents we love.
Atlantis.
Atlantis, Lemuria,
Right.
all that good stuff.
This concept of this hidden realm, a place untouched by the chaos of the surface world. I mean, it's not new.
No.
It's been a theme forever, throughout human history. I mean, think of the Greek underworld. You've got the Nordic realm of the elves.
Right.
Even like heaven and hell, these concepts.
Yeah. Yeah, it seemed we've always been fascinated by the idea that there's, something more out there
Right.
beyond what we can see and touch. But how did that, that general fascination, how did it turn into this specific myth of Agartha?
Well, if we want to trace the modern concept, we can look back to the 19th century. Edward Bulwer Lytton, I don't know if you've heard of him, he wrote a novel, Vil, The Power of the Coming Race.
Oh, okay.
And in that book, he introduces this idea of a technologically advanced civilization. But guess where they are?
Underground.
Inside a hollow earth. That really grabbed the public imagination, and it coincided with something else that was bubbling up at the time.
The hollow earth theory, right?
Yes.
The idea that the earth is not a solid sphere, but a hollow shell, and there are, openings at the poles.
Exactly. And this theory, well, it's been debunked scientifically, but at the time, it was a really fertile ground
Yeah.
for the Agartha myth.
So we have this really intriguing concept of, well, a hidden world, a lost paradise. But the Agartha myth goes even deeper.
Oh, yeah.
We've got these elements of conspiracy that are just captivating.
One of the most compelling things is that idea of advanced civilizations.
Right.
Living in Agartha, so much more evolved than us, living in harmony. And their knowledge, their technology, it's stuff we can only dream of.
I can totally see why that would be so appealing, especially in a world that, well, it often feels chaotic and divided, right?
Right.
This idea that somewhere there's this utopia.
Yeah.
It taps into that desire for a better world.
It's the allure of the unknown, right? Like, what if there is something beyond what we understand right now? It's like a hidden doorway,
Yeah.
a world that's free from all the problems we have up here.
And then, add on that connection to lost continents like Atlantis and Lemuria, and somebody's like, well, wait a minute. Maybe they didn't disappear.
Yeah.
Maybe they just went underground. They sought refuge in the hollow earth.
Protecting their wisdom and their technology. And it makes you wonder, what did those ancient cultures know?
Right.
It adds a whole layer of romanticism and mystery.
It's like piecing together a puzzle with all these fragments, right?
Yeah.
Ancient myths, scientific theories, and just that human yearning for something more. But some of the most intriguing pieces of this puzzle are those conspiracy theories
Oh, yeah.
surrounding Agartha.
You start talking about secret societies, government cover-ups, maybe even extraterrestrials.
Yeah, the idea that groups like the Illuminati or the Freemasons, that they know about Agartha, and they're either trying to, reach out to its inhabitants or they're actively hiding it from us.
It plays into that distrust of authority, right? That there are forces at play beyond our control and they're keeping information from us. And it feeds into that other fascination.
The hidden knowledge.
The secret truths that are only accessible to a select few.
It's like we've stepped into a spy thriller.
Exactly.
Clandestine meetings, coded messages, like a global network dedicated to, keeping Agartha secret.
And then you get those theories that say Agartha is not just a refuge, but it's a base for extraterrestrials.
Okay, now that takes the mystery to a whole new level.
It does.
Are these extraterrestrials like benevolent observers, or are they actively involved in our affairs?
It taps into our fear of the unknown. Are we really alone in the universe?
Right.
What if forces beyond our comprehension are pulling the strings?
It's this blend of science fiction and ancient mythology, and it creates a narrative that's both captivating but also kind of unsettling. But if Agartha is hidden, how do people think they can get there?
Well, there are all sorts of theories about hidden entrances.
Okay.
Often linked to specific locations geographically.
Like the openings at the poles.
Exactly. But it's not just the poles. There are theories about entrances in caves, mountains, under the ocean. And these places, they're always shrouded in mystery. They're often linked to old legends or folklore.
Like a global treasure hunt.
Yeah.
Each rumor, every little legend, points to a possible gateway into this hidden world. And some people claim they found those gateways. They say they've even made contact with the people who live there.
You hear accounts of telepathic communication, channeling, even physical encounters.
Wow.
And the messages they receive, they often contain prophecies, warnings, spiritual teachings.
But how do we reconcile these claims, these incredible stories, with the fact that, scientifically, there's no evidence for Agartha?
That's where the line between belief and evidence, it gets a little blurry. You have to consider the possibility that some of these accounts, are they misinterpretations? Are they hallucinations? Or even just made-up stories?
It's such a complex web, beliefs, personal experiences, and, we're all just trying to find meaning in a world that can feel pretty confusing.
Right.
But even if Agartha is a myth, I mean, the fact that people still believe in it, it tells us something about us, about our hopes and anxieties, our fascination with the unknown, and our desire to believe in something more.
And that's what makes exploring this topic so compelling. We're not just looking for a place. We're diving into the human psyche. We're looking at what it means to seek, to wonder, to believe.
Yeah, it's like we're standing at the edge of, well, a rabbit hole, right? Peering into this world that's both alluring, but it's also elusive. But, just like with any good mystery, we've got to examine the evidence. Or in this case, maybe the lack of evidence.
Right. Time to put on those skeptics' hats.
Yeah.
Because as tempting as it is to get caught up in the intrigue, we do have to ground ourselves in what we know based on, well, science.
So let's do that. Let's put on those skeptics' hats and look at what science tells us about this possibility of, a hidden world.
Okay, so the hollow earth theory, which is what kind of underpins this whole idea of Agartha, modern science has debunked it. Geological data, seismic data, they all confirm the earth is solid.
Uh-huh.
Dense core, there's just no space for a giant hollow area where a civilization could be hanging out.
Yeah, that makes sense. We've all seen those diagrams, Earth's layer, that kind of. But what about like smaller caverns?
Okay, yeah.
More localized networks underground. Those exist.
It's true. Caves exist. Underground formations exist. But to have something the size and scale of Agartha, as it's described,
Right.
not feasible. I mean, we're not talking about a couple tunnels here and there. We're talking about a vast society.
Right.
Advanced technology. They need agriculture, infrastructure.
It'd be like trying to, build a city inside a beehive. Not exactly practical.
Exactly. And then think about the logistics, the challenges of sustaining a civilization like that underground.
Yeah.
Where's the food coming from? Water, energy. How do they deal with waste? How do you get a breathable atmosphere?
It seems like the challenges would be, well, insurmountable, honestly. Okay, but let's shift gears a little bit to these claims about advanced civilizations living down there.
Okay.
Is there any chance, even a slim chance, that maybe groups of people could have survived underground for centuries? Developing technology and knowledge that's just beyond what we have.
It's true that we are always learning new things about ancient civilizations.
Right.
And who knows, maybe there are undiscovered ruins, artifacts out there, but a civilization advancing to that degree, completely isolated,
Yeah.
it's highly unlikely.
What makes it so unlikely?
Well, if you look at history, how have civilizations advanced?
Yep.
It's through interaction, trade, exchanging ideas. A civilization that's totally cut off, they would probably stagnate.
Right.
They wouldn't have the resources they need to make that kind of progress.
So as fun as it is to imagine, flying machines and telepathy and all that, the reality is they would need to be connected to the world.
Yeah, you need that interconnectedness. And, there's also the human factor to think about. Let's say it was physically possible.
Yeah.
Could humans really thrive without sunlight, without open spaces, without, the natural rhythms of the surface?
I mean, it does make you wonder, right? Is Agartha more about what we want it to be,
Yeah.
our desires, than an actual reality?
We seem to be drawn to the idea of a perfect world.
Right.
This hidden paradise that's an escape from all the messiness.
Yeah. And those desires, they seem even stronger than there's uncertainty or disillusionment.
Of course.
When things are tough, it's comforting to think, well, maybe there's a place where things are better.
It's like projecting our hopes onto this blank canvas.
Yeah.
Creating a world that's exactly what we long for.
Okay, so we've talked about the physical challenges, the logistic.
Uh-huh.
What about the alien stuff? Could Agartha actually be a base for extraterrestrials? I mean, come on.
The question of whether or not extraterrestrial life exists is huge.
It is.
And scientists are exploring it, but as of now, there's no credible evidence to say they've set up shop inside the Earth.
So no secret underground alien
Not
headquarters.
that we know of. It's tempting, right, to connect those dots,
Right.
unexplained phenomena, aliens, but we have to rely on evidence,
Yep.
not jump to conclusions.
It's like that saying, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence.
Exactly.
And it seems like in the case of Agartha, the evidence isn't there. Okay, let's talk secret societies, the Illuminati, the Freemasons. Are they really guarding the secrets of Agartha?
When you start looking at these theories about secret societies, they often come from this place of distrust,
Yeah.
distrust of authority,
Right.
the belief that they're hiding information from us.
Like a real-life Men in Black situation.
Exactly. We do have to remember a lot of these theories are based on speculation,
Right.
conjecture, not hard evidence.
So the idea of this, powerful group controlling access to this hidden world, yeah, it's captivating. But do we have any reason to believe it's true?
It's like having a puzzle and trying to force pieces that don't fit.
Uh-huh.
We see patterns, connections that maybe aren't really there.
Right.
And that sends us down this rabbit hole of unfounded beliefs.
Yeah, it's a good reminder that, we've got to think critically,
Absolutely.
especially when you're dealing with information that, well, could be manipulated or distorted pretty easily. Okay, but what about the people who claim they've made contact
Right.
with Agartha? They've received messages or even visited?
I think personal experiences are powerful.
Yeah.
We shouldn't dismiss them out of hand. But we also have to acknowledge that personal experiences are subjective.
Right.
And they can be shaped by a lot of different things, beliefs, cultural narratives, even just psychological states.
So someone could truly believe they've talked to an Agarthan,
Yeah.
but their experience might be a product of their own subconscious. You know what I mean?
Exactly. That doesn't mean their experience isn't real for them.
Right.
But it's important to separate subjective experiences from objective evidence.
Like the difference between a dream and, being awake.
Good analogy.
They both feel real in the moment, but they're not the same. And it seems like with Agartha, we're dealing with a lot of dreams and projections.
Yeah.
This longing for something more that might not actually exist.
Right.
But even if it is a myth, it still has this powerful hold.
It does.
I mean, what is it about Agartha that resonates with so many people across cultures throughout history? It's fascinating, right? We've talked about like the science, the logistics, and still Agartha just has this pull. Why do you think that is? Why does this myth still captivate us, even now?
I think it really gets at this core human need to believe in something bigger than ourselves, something that gives us a sense of wonder, possibility. Agartha really embodies that. It's that symbol of hope, that there might be something more to existence than what we see.
Yeah, like a secret door in our minds leading to this, like, world of potential?
Exactly. And that appeal, it gets amplified, right? When you think about the stuff we're dealing with today, like climate change, the political landscape, social unrest, all of a sudden, a hidden utopia where those things don't exist, it sounds pretty good.
Agartha becomes this, like, refuge, this vision of a better future where, we've solved those problems.
And it's not just about escaping our problems. It's also about reconnecting with, I don't know, something we feel we've lost. There's this fascination with ancient wisdom, like those past civilizations had knowledge and technology we've forgotten.
Like a longing for a golden age, a time when, humanity was more in tune with nature, with itself.
Right, and that often gets expressed through those stories of Atlantis, Lemuria, these lost continents. It feeds into this idea that we've gone off track. Maybe the answers to our problems are in the past.
So Agartha, it becomes more than just a place. It's this symbol of a lost paradise, maybe even like a blueprint for a better future.
And that's where the power of myth really lies, right? Myths, they're not just stories. They reflect our deepest fears, our aspirations. They help us make sense of the world.
So even if Agartha doesn't exist, like literally those ideas, the feelings it evokes, they are real. It speaks to that need for mystery, for adventure, that possibility that, well, there's more to life than meets the eye.
And in a world that's, increasingly focused on rationality and technology, the allure of the unknown, of what we can't explain, it becomes even stronger. There are still mysteries out there.
So maybe the real value of Agartha, it's not about whether it's real or not. It's about what it makes us think about, those questions it raises.
It pushes those boundaries of what we believe is possible.
It reminds us that even with, all our scientific advancements, there's still room for wonder, for speculation, for those ideas that we can't prove.
Exactly.
And that's what makes this deep dive so interesting. It's not just about, like, the facts or debunking a myth. It's about exploring that human need to believe, the power of storytelling, and, that enduring fascination with the stuff we just can't quite grasp.
It's a journey that takes us, not just to the center of the earth, but to the depths of our own imagination. And that's a journey worth taking, whether we find what we're looking for or not.
Well said. Well, listeners, we've reached the end of our exploration of Agartha. We hope you've enjoyed this deep dive. But now we want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on Agartha? Is it just a figment of our imagination, or could there be something more to this legend? Let us know. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and never stop searching for the extraordinary wherever it may be.